Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make the live action Jasmine dress. Be sure to check out my other videos about the other princess dresses that we've made. I'm pretty sure we've just about made every single one. The first thing you want to do is find a good wedding dress that has a similar shape to the live action Jasmine one. We knew we needed one that split down the middle, and this one was a good price, so we grabbed it. The second step is to get your wedding dress wet so that it is able to take the dye. And we used our big laundry sink for this, and then you always want to have some sort of big giant tub or bucket so that you can transport it to and from the stove as you need to rinse it. You want to make sure and get the water just hot enough to be under boiling. You don't want it to get it to the boiling temperature, because when you dump the dye in, it's best to keep that dye right below boiling temperature. So we use the synthetic RIT dye, and we've actually dyed a number of pink dresses before. We were hoping for this to be more of a hot pink, but I think because of the fabric, it wasn't as vivid of a pink as we were hoping for. It was more of the color of closer to the fuchsia one that we've used before to do Aurora's dress, and one other. I can't remember what the other one was. Oh, it was Ariel's dress. So you dump it in. We used 2 containers of the pink RIT dye simply because it was a ton of fabric. And so usually you go off of the weight, and wedding dresses are super heavy. And so we went off of the weight of that, and we needed 2. Now, we probably needed a bigger pot, but my canning pot is the biggest one that I have. And like I said, I've done about 19 dresses so far, and I've done them all in a canning pot. So you're going to see here in just a minute what that process is like, because this is the biggest pot that we have. So you want to put your dress in. I always like to do the top first, and then I flip it over and I'll do the bottom next. And it's really important to have silicone gloves that are heat resistant, because the water, like I said before, you have to maintain the dye color at right below boiling. And so obviously if you are taking a dress and turning it and helping to get the dye to soak up, it's going to be super hot. And so we took it out one time to kind of see what the colors were and how that was going to turn out. So we transport it into the laundry sink so we can rinse it and kind of do an assessment of the color. This is actually an important part, because you can see the areas of the dress that are maybe getting more exposure to the heat of the dye. The high temperature of the water is what sets the color into it. And so if you're not rotating it enough, you're going to get blotchy colors. And what we've found is, for some reason, as we've dyed wedding dresses, pink is the color that we have to be the most careful about with this, because it tends to, as you can see here, it tends to be splotchy. So after we rinsed this dress and really assessed where we were at with it, we then decided that it was time to take it back to the pot of dye and get things rolling there again. Now, because we were going for a rich pink, kind of bright color, we ended up spending a lot more time on this dress, getting the color even. And one of the things that I tend to do when we're dyeing wedding dresses is we like to pull the inside out and kind of hold that above the pot so that we have more room to maneuver in the pot to really get that dye to sit right in the dress and to get it into all those creases and everything. And you can see with the silicone claws on, it's not the easiest process. So I often will go back to my fingers, even though it's super hot, so that I can sort it and separate it and really begin to pull the color through the whole thing. The only caution with that is I'm sure that it's not great for your skin, and I ended up with pink fingers for about 3 days. Once I felt like I had done the best I could with the top of the dress, I then pulled that out and kind of let that sit in the bucket while I finished the rest. Now, one of the cool things about dyeing wedding dresses is the lace and the beadwork always come out just a little bit different with each dress. You never know if it's going to be bright or light and if the beads are going to take or not. And this particular dress, half of the beads dyed a dark fuchsia and the other half stayed a very light pink. So this was the longest dress in terms of time spent for me, just in the whole entire making process. Because we had experience with pink not being the easiest to dye on wedding dresses, we spent extra time making sure that we really got all of the pieces covered perfectly. And so we took it out again and went and rinsed it and then came back and put it back in the dye one more time. Now, the last time we put it in the dye, it tended to hold that color really well, and we felt like we got it in there enough to be a consistent color throughout the entire dress. And at that point, it was time for us to hang it out to dry. Now, I have a place in my backyard that I have a nail coming off of my deck that it can hang and drip down without me having to worry about dye going on concrete or anything. But just remember that if you are dyeing a wedding dress, it's really important to watch where it's dripping because you don't want to get dye all over your house or all over your backyard. And as it dries out, it's going to drip and leave some water spots wherever it's at. The other thing that I do is I like to put a bucket underneath it. So this red tub that you see when I hang it up, it actually goes underneath it so it catches a lot of the dye even though I was hanging it over dirt. Like I said before, this was probably my most challenging dress in terms of dyeing and time needed, and I still don't feel like it's 100% done even though Halloween is tomorrow. We have attached everything in a way that my daughter has been able to wear it to a couple events so far this season, but I'm sure after Halloween is all over, I'll probably go back and kind of fix some of the quick fixes I put on the dress just so that it looked like the live action dress. So I ended up getting a bunch of gold trimming to go all over the hem of the dress, and then I got some blue to go down the middle and just underneath on the bodice. And I spent some time sewing this on kind of all around the trim and things like that. We added a couple different golden ribbons just to give it that ribbony look, and there you have it. This is our live action Jasmine dress. It turned out beautiful. And we were able to do all of this for right under $60 with all the additional stuff that we bought, between the wedding dress costing $40, the dye cost right around $11, and then all of the trimming I got on sale at Hobby Lobby. And so it ended up being somewhere between $60 to $65 total for this beautiful live action Jasmine dress. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Don't forget to check out my other princess wedding dress DIY costumes. Have a wonderful day, and remember, you are amazing.